From all corners of the globe to your ears, it's the Midnight Movie Cowboys. Sometimes informative, sometimes controversial, but always unpredictable. It's the Midnight Movie Cowboys podcast with your hosts, Hunter, John, and Stu. And now, on with the show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Midnight Movie Cowboys. I am your host, Hunter, in Texas, and joining me in the wild outback of Australia. Actually, I think he's in wherever Dick Tracy takes place. Stuart Balk. Say hello, Stu.
Hello.
And joining us from the Rocky Mountain High of Colorado is Mr. John Gray. Say hello, John.
Hello.
And we also have Dick Tracy himself, Mr. Eric Zaldivar, in his yellow trench coat and hat. Hey, Eric.
They paid me to do this.
Yeah.
So is the real Eric going to turn up and counter-argue with you?
He and I are on the same plane of thinking of that.
So you
So
do
no.
talk...
So I'm here representing him.
Oh, okay then.
Yes.
So you're going to be speaking
And
in the third person.
I misplaced my wristwatch. Hunter borrowed it actually.
And your yellow hat as well.
Yeah.
You look like an Amish Dick Tracy, actually.
This is my original look from the comic strip.
Oh, okay.
It's
black.
It's
black
Mountie
hat.
Dick Tracy.
Mountie Dick Tracy. Enough Dick Tracy.
Dudley Dick Tracy.
Hunter, you were saying you didn't have a Dick Tracy theme going. John does. Yeah, you're the only one. John's got a Dick Tracy theme going. It's a police station gym after they got defunded.
Yeah, pretty much. It's my basement.
Yeah.
You've got dirty old kettlebells that just get lifted every now and then.
Just moved it to John's house.
Duplicates arresting thugs, of course.
You don't have the cement blocks like Ronnie Coleman.
Oh yeah, I was thinking about that. That'll be a good aesthetic to have.
Yeah, if you want to walk like a hunchback for the rest of your life, I guess.
Yeah, boy. He's got like 5 different walking sticks that he's got one for the hallway, one for the living room, one for the gym.
Yeah.
So, as I guess the audience has guessed, our thing is Dick Tracy themed today because there was an event in the film world of Dick Tracy recently. But first,
Well, actually,
You can also tell from
it's
the
actually it's an all filler, no killer episode. But we're going to be speaking a lot about this Dick Tracy Zooms In thing. So
yeah. But before we get to that, let's whip out our junk. Who wants to go first?
I'll go last because I think I have a good transition
Okay, good.
to the topic.
Stu, you want to go first?
Okay, I got a bit, so I'll get rid of this background before I make a fool of myself and always forget about it. And be as quick as I can. Virtual background, and it is.
Yeah, I should go. I should have gone first so I could filibuster while you did that.
Eric
Go
should
on
have put a
in.
microphone on his watch and been like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, here
Well,
we are.
mine's
None.
really. Oh, there you go. Okay.
Go on.
Okay, well, mine's really fast. I'm just going to do mine really quick because mine are ones that have been presented before. John, I jumped on the big time gambling boss train. Want to support these more obscure Yakuza titles, so hopefully we'll get some stuff that's not directed by Kenji Fukasaku or
Yeah,
involves
I
Yakuzas
hope.
torturing people.
no more Fukusaki and Hideo Gosha.
Yeah.
And no Taro Ishii. There's other directors.
No, certainly not. I don't need more Yakuza torture dungeon movies.
No,
Those
whipping of women and
I always see like, oh, Yakuza something. Oh, it's directed by Taro Ishii. Oh, it's never mind. I don't want this.
I wait for those to get really cheap to add to my collection. I'll put it that way.
So, and the next one I got is the Arrow Angela Mao 2-pack for the Arrow shelf. Lady Hopkido and Lady Whirlwind and Hopkido. Excuse me.
Be sure to watch it with the Hopkido dub.
Sweet. Yeah, I always go for the dub.
There's a good reason to watch it for the Hopkido dub because they has that voice out of nowhere. Just say Hopkido every time they were saying kung fu, and then they replaced it with a Hopkido loop, and it's the same guy every time, even if it's a man or woman saying it. It's always like
Keep
Hopkido.
that Arrow shelf ticking over.
Yeah. So that's it for me.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll go next. I got a little bit, but I'll zip through them really fast. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of free stuff which I've scored off people. So cheers to those people. We're just giving away. Just a lot of decluttering people are doing, and they're basically saying on Marketplace, just come and take it. We don't want it. So I've done some good ones in there. Found some good ones. 2-disc special edition of The Mission on DVD was one
Good.
of them.
Good.
This one I did pay for because this is going out of print. Never seen it. Owned the first 2 seasons. Meant to watch the third one. Never did until how about that? Twin Peaks.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've heard everything. It just a lot of what season 2 lacked, season 3 makes up for.
Well, it's 18 hours of pure David Lynch, and some people hate it, some people love it. I'm in the love it camp, but
I hate it.
yeah, see,
Yeah,
I
of
knew
course
John
you
would.
Bored the
do.
shit out of me.
Is it as? I don't think it's bad, but is it as bad as Fire Walk with Me? I've had a lot of people shit can that film.
I think that's a good movie, but
Yeah, I like
think
it.
Yeah,
It's okay.
A lot
I
of
don't like it.
people, a lot of people hated it. I think because they wanted to find out what
Yeah.
happens after the cliffhanger in season
Yeah.
2, and then they were like, "Oh, we get the Laura Palmer story, which we already know from the show." So
Yeah.
He did Phantom Menace before Phantom Menace, basically.
Mhm.
Was the murderer revealed in the film or in season 2?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not
Nothing.
going to say who
Don't
it is.
Yeah, I just
Okay.
don't hear nothing anyway.
Okay.
Sorry, Eric. Okay, moving on. Picked this up for I think $10 or $20. AC/DC's Backtracks box set.
nice.
Very cool. Do have another thing I want to get onto a rant later after we've done the Dick Tracy. It is part of what is in here, but it is an issue I want to raise. All right, freebies coming up. Fear Factory's Obsolete album.
Yeah.
Oh, this one, I don't mind this film, but I haven't seen it for years. Would be one I'd like all of us to cover one day, maybe. The Jerky Boys soundtrack. Remember the soundtrack being good, but I can't remember about the film. That was a freebie.
It's a cinema masterpiece, and yeah, there's
It's their prank
there's
call
something
skit,
about
right?
Jerky Boys coming up that we'll save
Yeah.
it for later. It's a
Okay.
surprise.
We don't want to.
Clint Eastwood's doing a Jerky Boys movie.
Is
Yes.
it? Oh, Jersey Boys.
Jersey Boys.
It's a musical, right?
Yeah.
All right, moving along. 3 albums by this band, nearly there to finish their collection, but not yet. Deadbolt, Tier 1 Hit Squad, my favorite Deadbolt album. Deadbolt, Voodoo Trucker, Deadbolt live in Berlin, where he calls his German fans German cocksuckers, which is whatever. Got this as a freebie.
Crowd
As well?
suckers.
Huh?
Yeah, he missed out. Crowd suckers would have been good.
No, yeah, well, no. Anyway, yeah, it would have been funny, but anyway, this was a freebie. Very happy we've gotten this because this is long fucking deleted. Rolling Stones Roll Gold,
Mm.
2 discs. I used to have the tape of this, but this is the CD version, which is expanded, which I didn't want, but when I heard the expanded one, absolute fucking awesome. Moving on, The Cure, Wish, 3-disc 30th anniversary edition. Sorry. Getting towards the end, pick this up for a couple of bucks off somebody. Sex Pistols, Flogging a Dead Horse. It's a compilation. Not cool, but whatever. And finally, oh no, sorry, 2 more things. Hunter, Cheap Trick. We're all right.
Nice.
I finally picked it
Good
up.
album.
Man, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I was expecting a lesser effort after Bang Zoom Crazy Hello, but boy, I tell you what, they just plugged their shit in and played like motherfuckers on an album.
And there's the one after that's good too.
In Another World.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get that one.
Good.
Last, until I bring up my rant later, this is the best of the lot. Pick this up on $32 off Amazon. Fireball XL5, 2 vinyl.
Wow.
My favorite Jerry Anderson show. Music by Barry Gray. Beautiful. Yeah. And basically after I bought that, after about 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later, it jumped up to $75. So just got in time with that one. And that's it for me until I have a rant later about something in here.
All right, John.
Okay, well, I went to the Rocky Mountain Record Fair last weekend because they had free admission, and it was strange to see a lot of overpriced.
As they
Vinyl.
should. There should never be an admission price, for record fairs. It's ridiculous.
For some reason, they were selling tickets on Saturday, and then Sunday they were like, "Oh, free admission." So everybody just walked in and got a bottled seltzer for free from some local company. But anyway, I did find an interesting thing. Strangely enough, is at my cousin-in-law's table because he had a table there. I don't know if this is going to be very visible. Let's
Hold
see
up
here.
in front of you.
The Dark Shadows.
Oh wow!
Vinyl soundtrack, and I think I only paid about $8 for this.
Shit.
And I think it's an original issue from years ago. Philips, the Philips record label. Yes, the company that now makes DVD players and probably stereos.
Hold that cover up again, John.
What's that?
Hold that cover up again, John.
So, it's covered
Sorry,
in
for those
plastic, so
listening.
it reflects a little bit. But
Hold it in front of your face. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Dark Shadows.
All right.
Well,
And the original hype.
Yeah,
the hype
yeah,
sticker on there
okay.
as well.
Yeah, it has the poster in it. It has the original poster.
Oh wow!
And only $8. My cousin saw no real value in it. I guess good for him. This is timing with the complete Dick Tracy, 54 to 56. I found this at Second and Charles. This is the IDW reissues that are probably the definitive reissues right now. Currently,
How much
going.
was that?
This was like $15.
Mm.
So I'm assuming it was maybe used or it was a markdown that ended up on their shelves.
What is that? Is that radio plays or is that the soundtrack score or something?
Comic strip.
What's that? No, it's a comic strip. The
Oh, it's a
actual-
book. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like
yeah.
a newspaper. It's a hardcover newspaper comic strip
Oh,
collection. Those are, they come out and they're fairly pricey when they come out. Then some of them end up at places like Hamilton Books for like $20 and Second and Charles. And sometimes you get them, sometimes you don't. I honestly don't have the budget to go collect all of them, but I grab them when I see them, and it's a lot of reading there. I don't know if I've had this on the show before because I just found it in a stack. This is Stoneground. That's the band you see playing in Dracula AD 1972.
Oh,
And I found
no,
out
you
they were
haven't
actually
shown that. I would have remembered
an
that.
American band, and I don't remember if I ordered this from Amazon or I just found it at a library sale not long ago. Like how bizarre.
does
is
it
that?
have Crocodile Man?
Let's see here. Crocodile Man. I haven't even broken the plastic on this. I didn't even know I got this.
Probably a rhetorical question. I can't imagine it.
No,
would
it
be.
doesn't have Crocodile Man.
What?
Yeah, it's missing. This is weird. It's the first album and then the third album. It's not 1, 2, and 3, which I believe this is a Russian CD issuing this. So, sorry to our Ukrainian listeners,
And our anti-bootleg crowd as well.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a bootleg or not. It might be legit.
I mean, dude, if it's coming from Russia, it's most likely.
BGO Records, or it's actually hard to read there.
Oh no, BGO is an actual real label. Okay,
they're real. Okay.
Yeah. Big. What do they stand for? Big.
Yeah. I mean, it says
Big goes on. That's who it is. I've got a Frank Marino
goes
one.
on. Okay, it's a British label. I'm looking here. It's actually licensed Warner Music UK. So I guess this band, even though they're from Concord, California, I think they were actually bigger in England for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's it for me.
All right, Eric.
All right. I got Sonny Chiba box set. Barnes and Nobles. It has a price tag of $70, but it was actually $40 because it was 30% off. So
Yeah, never pay full price at Barnes and Noble.
Never.
Oh yeah.
Sticker
No,
prices are
$40
idiotic.
is $40 is what it's worth, pretty much. So it worked out. I got Marcel Montalcino's second overwritten crime novel, Big Time.
In English?
No. Yeah, of course in English.
Well, I don't know. In Spanish.
No. I'm not going to sit here and read a 500-page Spanish book.
Well, you're Spanish.
almost-
You should know it.
Almost done. I could read it, but
No.
I'm not, it'll take me a long time.
Okay.
And also there's a lot of choice language in here that would be very different in Spanish. It'd probably be dirtier, actually. But I'm enjoying it. I'm almost done, 2/3 of the way. I don't think I like it as much as his first novel, Cross Killer, which is like kind of like Stephen King's Salem's Lot if it was a 1980s Los Angeles crime novel. A lot of characters, a lot of intertwining stories, things like that.
Yeah.
Count Orlok shows up.
Count Orlok shows up, yeah. In fact, when Count Orlok finally shows up, the novel starts to degrade. And much like Cross Killer, once you get to the buildup where everything's been leading to it, it starts to degrade. He improved on some of the characters. They're less cartoony here. There's still Italian mobsters that talk like Italian mobsters in movies. But they're even though they're the main antagonist of this, they barely show up. They're only like the first third of the book, and the rest of the book, the protagonist is on the run. But speaking of cartoony gangsters, take it away, Hunter.
We got to this week. We're talking about the Warren Beatty special on TCM, Tracy Zooms In, where Warren Beatty shows up as Dick Tracy to criticize once again Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy, and then Beatty himself, Beatty's as Tracy, Andy's as himself, shows up, and they have words about the process. And so this is not the first time Beatty's done this. He did this with the Dick Tracy special in 2010, which I don't think ever aired. Is that correct, John? Do you know?
I think it did air one time because that's
Okay.
how it ended up on YouTube.
Okay, so in that, and so in this one, we've got the first special in 2010 had Leonard Maltin. This one's got Ben Mankiewicz and Leonard Maltin.
Yeah, and these were unannounced, I should add. They just popped up.
Yeah,
they weren't.
It just
apparently were not even announced.
And apparently it played at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, I logged into Facebook and I was like, oh, there's new footage of Beatty as Tracy. But one thing that happened when Leonard Maltin came shuffling in, I was going, he looks sick. Did he have a stroke?
Yeah, he had one exactly after he'd done that interview 10 years ago. It's like, I can't fucking take
apparently
this.
he's got Parkinson's disease. I didn't know this.
He's been in poor shape since Malloy interviewed him back in, I don't know the year exactly. I think it was 2011, 2012. They have him and his wife, if you can get over all of the Mickey Mouse and Woody Woodpecker plush toys around the house. They have one of those things. I don't know the proper terminology for them, but those chairs that help elderly people go up the steps. You know, you sit on
the automatic hydraulic ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
exactly. They got,
yeah, I always
that's
think
what's
of
funny
Gremlins.
about that, because didn't he tear Gremlins a new asshole? And here,
Yeah, he did.
I'm telling tales out of school on that one, but yeah, I think the Maltons have been in poor health for some time.
Well, as far as that generation of film critics go, that kind of boomer generation of film critics, I find Leonard Maltin to be the least offensive. I like him a lot more than, say, Roger Ebert or anybody like that. He's always been completely inoffensive, just seems to like old movies, doesn't seem to be trying to force a mold reality the way Ebert was.
I like
peak
Maltin.
cinema for Ebert was 90s Miramax films,
Yeah. I like Maltin and like the
kept coming.
David J. Scull. I like he's good as well.
Oh yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
Yeah.
I liked David Kerr and John Simon. Those are probably my favorites.
What about Gregory W. Mank? No.
Never heard of him.
No, God.
Okay. But yeah, so the reason Beatty does this is to hang on to the rights to Dick Tracy. And these are weird, y'all. Like this was so strange because a lot of the movie is Beatty as Tracy watching clips from his Dick Tracy movie and criticizing it. There's a lot of humming and hawing, and Ben Mankiewicz and Leonard Maltin seem confused.
They look uncomfortable. I thought, God.
They were just wincing at each other, like,
yeah. They're just reacting to stuff Beatty's doing, and Beatty does a lot of hemming and hawing in this. A lot of, this here, a pink street. Why is there a pink street? I'm punching seven guys at once. I think he's always done that.
I think he's always done that. I think it's part of his gimmick in a way. Like when he do talk show appearances, he would just hem and haw and kind of pause.
There's cutaway. There's there's jump cuts if you look closely at the squares that he's in, because he must have labored to the point. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I did.
And I thought, kind of lazy in a way, the editing.
I want to know a couple of things first. If Leonard Maltin and the other fellow are in the same room, why have they got their own square in the Zoom? That makes no sense.
Oh yeah, good point.
Okay, because that obviously be in the one box. Number two, which is pretty sad, Warren Beatty sounded bad, as in cognitively bad.
Yeah.
In decline. Yeah, not good.
No, he's 80 something years
Yeah,
old.
he's 80
you know,
years old.
He's
they should have
he's-
renamed this. They should have
I think
renamed
he's
it.
84. I think he's like 84 years old.
They should have renamed this Let's Go Warren. You just
Well, the reason that the critics don't have their own Zoom squares is because Beatty is a boomer and doesn't actually understand technology, and he and his editor just
Good
did
point.
stuff as a visual
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So they
Beatty
split
is
Yeah,
the
they don't
co-director,
understand the internet.
but Beatty is co-director and writer on this.
Yeah.
But you know, why do you guys think, and maybe John and Eric might know a little more, why do you think Beatty is holding on to the rights to Tracy? Do you think he still plans to do something with it, or is this just I want my Tracy toys?
I don't know. We Eric and I discussed this like a week ago, and we really can't figure him out. He's just seems petty and weird, and I don't think he's going to get another Tracy project going. I can't see that happening. I mean, I think he would have already done it if he was going to but it's almost like, I don't know if he feels protective about the property. It doesn't make a lot of sense, or he's spiteful to Tribune Media for whatever reason. I'm not sure.
I got a question. Does he have to appear in character as Dick Tracy to keep the rights, or just produce something?
Yes.
He has to. All right.
Yeah, and this qualifies as a movie. If you look on IMDb, this is logged as his latest movie.
Because it's over 20 minutes. That's why.
Yeah.
If it's under 20 minutes, it's not classed as a film.
Well, his forward-thinking lawyers back in 1990 or whenever the contracts were written up, in order to retain the rights, I don't know how many years it is, in between 12 years or 7 years, whatever it is, he has to appear at least as Tracy, either in a film, a show, or a TV special. And what is the easiest to produce between those three? A slap together TV special that TCM is more than happy to scheme to help with his little scheme. I don't know what to think of this thing. I'm of two minds of it, really. One, it's classic, as I think you already said, it's classic boomer, doesn't want to let go of the toys. And it's basically a weird petty thing against the Tribune. And within 7 years or so, Dick Tracy will be public domain. Not that that matters, because the Tribune could still go after you in court.
Does that include the 1990 film? Will be public domain as well?
No, just the character.
Okay.
Just the character, yeah. I'm assuming like the first year, if you want it, like first year Tracy comic strip, whatever the year that is, early 30s, that will probably be in public domain. But because the character Dick Tracy is involved, you can probably do anything really with Dick Tracy if you wanted to. And then the other side of me is thinking that I'm happy with him doing this, because this is so bizarre. It's the most memorable thing he's done probably since Dick Tracy. And this somehow surpassed the strangeness of the last time he did this, just because of the inclusion of himself arguing with the character. And also you got a young Turk in there, and it's just like the whole thing is just bizarre.
Well, the last one, kind of felt like you could justify its existence, like, oh, we're looking back on the old RKO Tracy pictures, and it's kind of a joke. Dick Tracy's coming in here, and I think it's really funny, the parts where he's like, I'm just not a big fan of Warren Beatty. He's kind of a liberal, I'm more of a conservative guy myself. I think that's really funny and cute. But this one was really odd. It felt very strange because it has Beatty talking to himself in characters, Tracy, and it at a certain point, I remember thinking, wow, this is really contentious. And then I went, wait a second. This was like, wait, why am I having these thoughts? This is the same guy talking to himself.
I just self-deprecating. It is.
This is messing with my grip on reality,
He got one more jab
Ben
about
Mankiewicz being in there also is so strange. Like, he's watching the clips from the previous special where he's pomegranates. It's like, what's going on?
They're making fun of the other special too. Yeah, on top of
and the movie had a songs by Sidney Sondheim. Yeah, it's a musical comedy. It makes crime look too fun. Uh,
And yet the clips he's showing of Ralph Bird like judo throwing people across, like they're in these environments that's just like, that's how you fight crime. Like what this is about as ridiculous as him getting on a trampoline and jumping through a window.
Crime is serious.
He knows how to
business.
play me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, I like it because it's so bizarre and memorable, but at the same time it's kind of annoying because it's like, do something with the character already, like do something meaningful with it.
Either do something with the character, yeah, shit, or get off the pot.
This
really.
feels passive aggressive.
Yeah, it's total boomer energy with the just holding on to the toys and breaking them on the way out.
Yeah.
It just
But,
seems
you
like
know-
a sabotage. Why would you self-sabotage if you plan to do something in the future?
There's that weird, yeah.
Because you're pitching to a new audience. It's 33 years since the last Dick Tracy. So
And
you're pitching to
also-
a new generation.
That's something I didn't even think about. He's like doing damage to the character or the brand or whatever you want to call it, because it's just like, what is this old guy doing? Like that's what I'm thinking. I'm trying to, revert back to 18 years old and not, in a body that didn't know what any of this stuff was.
Yeah. So if I'm a 20-something, which I'm obviously not, but if I'm a 20-something and there's a new Dick Tracy film, which he obviously is stating he wants to put in theaters because of you can sit at home, you can watch it, you can pause it, you can, it's basically like a book, which was a good point that he raised. So if you want to put this thing in theaters where they're basically a dying sort of property these days, why would you sabotage it? And people go, Warren Beatty, that's the guy who was shit canning. Okay, it is Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy, but you were shit canning. I'm not going to watch it. With the attention span of the youngsters these days, they're going to say, he was saying the last one's bad. I'm not going to bother with this one. I never worked it out.
Let's
true,
be
yeah.
real. Youngsters are not watching this.
They're not watching Dick Tracy, but I mean, no, if there's barely anything at the theaters, they'll probably
They're
go,
not
"Oh,
watching
looks
this
cool."
because it's on Turner
There's-
Classic Movies. And
There's
that's
a very
the-
niche. I think there's a very niche amount of youngsters that did watch it just to get the lulls for it and all that stuff.
Yeah, I disagree, Hannah, because yes, it's on Turner Classic Movies, but it's also out there on the net, and it's been rampant on the net. So young people
Yeah.
are coming across it through
I mean,
other channels, etc. Talking about it. But yeah, go on.
yeah, I mean, I say that, and I like I have film students who do their own Dick Tracy movies, so there you go. but they also, this was not on their radar. I had to go. Did you see Warren Beatty was dressing up as Tracy? And they were like, wait, what? But
One of the reasons why I like that this exists is because you encapsulated as best you could, Hunter, where you posted like, drop whatever you're doing. He put on the suit again.
yeah,
It's like for a very small amount of people, it's really kind of an event. It's just like, what?
yeah. I didn't have that in my bingo cards for this year that Beatty was going to do another weird special. As
It would
Tracy.
have been like Charles Bronson, who was still alive, doing an interview with Paul Kersey. Just drop everything that you're doing.
Yeah.
But that would have been
Yeah,
worth
it's true.
watching because it's Charles Bronson. But
I don't think we're going to get another one of these, not just because of Beatty's age, but as I said, I think 7 or 8 years from now, it goes into the public domain. So there'd be no reason for him to spend whatever he spent here, $5,000, $10,000 to put this together.
so even if he made a new film in the next, say, 2 or 3 years, it still goes to public domain. Doesn't matter.
Right.
Not his movie, but
Not his
yes,
movie, but the
but-
character, regardless, will
Yeah.
go on the. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, the rule with
Um,
public domain is anything created in that comic strip that first year is public domain. Any characters, any villains or whatever created afterwards cannot use.
Until
You
the
just can't use it.
appointed year, like Flat Top. I don't know when they used it. I think just during the war, 42 or whatever, Flat Top probably will not be.
Right. It's
the
going to be
public domain.
2040, whatever, before you
As
can
an
use
example.
flat top. And
Right.
like Superman's going into public domain in something like 6 or 7 years, I forget. And the deal with him is you can have him jumping really high and leaping forward, but you cannot have him flying. You can't say he's from Krypton,
Like in
because
the
they
George
never made
Reeves TV
Krypton in the
show.
first year.
It was like in the George. Yeah, that was more for budget
Yeah,
constraints.
no
but
Lex Luthor. You could have Lois Lane. I think the Daily Planet is in the first year of comics, but you can't use anything after that first year.
What are the few first year villains for Superman?
He doesn't. There's no supervillains. None.
It's the
So it's like
tenement
giant
housing.
Tyrannosaurus Rex or
It's-
Rampage.
None. Nothing. Nothing fun. Nothing like that.
It's the
What?
villainous
Well-
tenement housing that he tears down to get equal
Yeah, he's
housing
like
for
a lot of
people.
liberals on Facebook will sit there and say he's a socialist hero and he's a Marxist hero and all
Oh,
that.
jeez.
They're and because he goes after like a guy is injured and can't play football games and looks just like Superman, so Superman subs for him on the football team. It's really stupid stuff.
Yeah, the
It's
early Superman comics are lame. Like,
yeah,
it
Siegel and
doesn't-
Schuster. I mean, I believe they got hosed by DC Comics for the rights and everything, but that first year of comics is not good.
Well, hold on a second. Actually, I don't know anything about this, but the first Action comic is him lifting a tank, right?
No, it's a car, I think.
Oh, is it? You're
a
right.
car.
It is a car.
Yeah, I don't even know if the tanks existed, like images we like of Superman holding a tank or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, he's lifting a car, and I think in the comic, if I recall correctly, it's been years since I've read them, but like gangsters fell out of the car or put us down.
Something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Warren Beatty fell out of the car.
Yeah, Warren
That's
Beatty
on-
flies.
under his head.
Superman punches 7 guys. Why? How could he punch 7 guys?
How could he punch 7 guys? He's really hung up on that. He punched 7. I would never punch 7 guys. If I was on the set as a consultant, I would have said something.
Yeah, it's really hard to gauge what he actually feels about his 1990 Dick Tracy because he's playing Tracy in the special criticizing the Thing. So I don't know. Does he have regrets about it looking like,
I
you know,
think he does.
like a comic strip? I don't know.
The only regret I think I would have had, or that I have watching it, I like the film a lot.
Yeah,
I
me
hate
too.
Madonna in the fucking movie though. She's awful.
I don't mind her.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't
no.
really mind her, but you can definitely tell they're having sex. Watch
Mm.
it, you know?
I'm still shocked that she shows titty in a PG-rated Disney movie.
I know. I was surprised they could get away with that as late as because that movie,
It's
you know,
1990.
PG,
That's
yeah,
Mm.
PG-13 was a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
It's not like this is the 80s with 16 candles with
it's late in the
boobs
game.
in
Yeah.
a PG movie.
Yeah.
You
You got
know,
the
but
best.
yeah,
The
it's-
best dig he's gotten at Beatty's politics was in this particular special. Though. That's a lot of reds, even for Beatty.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Mm.
also Beatty, not a boomer, 37, I think he was
Yeah.
born.
Right.
Well, with celebrities, it's very different.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Celebrities, they have a boomer mentality. It's me,
Yeah,
me,
well,
They
me.
because they
influenced
created
the
it.
boomers. Bonnie and
they-
Clyde
they're-
is a boomer movie.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah,
But,
yes, you're right. He is a depression baby or whatever that generation is. But he
Silent
is.
Generation, is that what they are?
Silent Gen.
I always get him confused. But mentally, he is a boomer.
Yes, kind of like George Lucas, you know.
Lucas is, yeah. Lucas, I think, is shy of 1946 is the first year of boomers. I think he was born in 44 or something like that.
Yeah, he was born during World War II.
But he's definitely a boomer, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. But you know, Beatty is kind of, you know, I'm kind of I've become fascinated with Beatty in the past few years because he's had an interesting career, and he's kind of, he was the movie star that I think kind of bridged the old and new Hollywood. You know, he was you know, famous in, you know, the late 50s, and then,
Yeah.
you know, was the young face of, you know, starring in these edgy movies like Bonnie and Clyde and Shampoo and McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
And the Parallax View.
Parallax View, yeah.
Which,
His Burt Reynolds movie.
yeah, I was surprised.
The crash helmet.
It's like,
Beatty.
oh my goodness, the first third of this is Smokey and the Bandit
Yeah.
or White Lightning. Or
Before
something.
Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah,
Um
AC.
and but you know, the films he's directed are always these big ambitious projects like Reds and Dick Tracy and Rules Don't Apply,
Ishtar.
which was, you know, Matt Drudge's
Bugsy.
weird obsession.
Bugsy was a good
uh,
one. I really like Bugsy. I think I like Bugsy more than I
That's a
like Dick
decent movie.
Tracy. Yeah.
He didn't direct Bugsy. That was Barry Levinson.
Oh, that's
Mm,
right.
right.
Yeah, I always think he
And
did
that
because he was such
and
a
it was
big part of
written
it.
actually, and Bugsy is one of the smeared IMDb credits on James Toback's little page that he pulls out when he corners women to prove that he's famous.
That's one of my favorite showbiz stories. James Toback whipping out these wrinkled, old, tattered, stapled together printouts of his IMDb, just to impress these girls that like what? Imagine that move.
Oh yeah, I can imagine that.
Imagine.
I really can
imagine-
imagine it. Yeah.
No, well, imagine
So-
the chick who actually fell for it. At least one of them did.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
without
you
a
know it.
doubt. There's
Yeah.
tons of fame whores out there.
Yeah.
No.
What was it? I was reading that. Have any of you heard of that book Chaos by Tom O'Neill, the Charles Manson, the CIA, and
Oh, the MK
Charles Manson, the
Ultra.
CIA, and the Secret History of the '60s.
Oh yeah, I have it over here.
I've heard of it. I've not
I'm
read
reading
it.
it right now. It's really good. But there's this part where they talk about the possibility of Roman Polanski hosting orgies at the Cielo Drive house, and they go. James Toback is one of the guys who's like, yeah, man, there was definitely that kind of energy there, and other people aren't so sure. Toback's full of shit, some of them say. So.
My wife is reading that book. She had it on the coffee table, and we had Steve Railsback over because we interviewed him in the building. And when he walked in, I saw the book right away. I moved it, and I was just like, "Oh, Steve, over there!" And I put it back on the shelf.
You quickly scrubbed off the word blood pig off your wall.
Yeah, I just didn't want him to see that just
No.
in case. It's like I did not mean to have this out.
No, it's an interesting book though. If you're, it kind of it's got a different narrative than the Helter Skelter Vincent Bugliosi narrative.
Well, just the fact that it had Manson on big letters,
Manson
with a forward by Rob Zombie.
Yes,
Yeah, of course.
And with Malcolm McDowell as Vincent Bugliosi.
I know Zombie has Manson imagery all over his movies and maybe his music
And his house.
or lyrics and his house, I guarantee.
Yeah, most likely.
Among the monsters.
With the monsters.
Paraphernalia. Yeah, but has he ever really spoken about Manson? Is he one of these guys that that are big fans essentially? Does he collect serial killer cards and stuff?
He's talked about being obsessed with Charles Manson. I don't know if I've ever heard him. I've never heard him go into it like, let's talk about Charles Manson. It just seems to be something that, he'll cover, Children of the Grave, and then put like Manson news radio broadcasts in the mix.
Hell, are you serious?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got a bit of can we just take a pause? I got a bit of a rant. You mentioned about Charles Manson. I was at one of my son's school functions, and all the girls there who were teenage girls had hairstyles like the Manson women. Now, I know it's not by design, but when did this thing become a trend?
Girls having Manson
like,
hair?
as in parted and just long. Like, it just makes no sense.
In some parts of
I don't know.
Spanish-speaking culture, they call that the Virgin of the Favela or whatever it's called. Hairstyle. I don't know.
When did it, Patricia Creamwinkle become a model? Squeaky from. I don't understand the look. I said to my son, "Look like the Manson women." And I said, they're trash. So I had to raise that. That's the sort of thing happening in America as well, that hairstyle. But boy, I see it a lot around here.
I don't really live in America, so it's hard to tell. I don't see.
You don't?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he lives in the water tank on the top of the Cecil Hotel.
Live in Los Angeles. It's not really in the United States.
No.
Not even close.
No. When I went to last time I went to LA, this is not America. I don't know what this is.
Okay.
It's unfortunate that most people think it is, but most people outside.
So it needs a cessation away from the rest of the country, does it?
Kind of, in a way. I mean, and culturally, yeah. Culturally, yeah.
Culture it is, yeah. Okay. I've not been there for many years, and I was there one night overnight. I was like, no, I'm not coming back. It's as
if the Confederacy didn't want to leave people alone. Didn't want to do their own thing. They have their own thing going, and then they want to meld the minds of every other American in other states to be just like them. That's kind of what Los Angeles is like, or California.
Okay.
But let's be real. California is dictated by Los Angeles and San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Fuck off, scammers. Pack of cunts. I'm sick of them fucking ringing up all the time.
What time is it over there?
Just before 2 p.m.
Oh, okay. That's why. I was like, what?
Yeah. Good way to get rid of
so-
scammers. Good way to get rid of scammers. Bit of a fun fact. Answer the phone and say to them, "1 moment, please," and put the phone down and just carry on. Because they're paying for the call, and they eventually, I promise you, they blacklist you in the end. Because, yeah, sir, fuck off.
If
Sir?
they haven't blacklisted me, I don't know what else I can do. I usually come on as a black mammy or something and talk to them for 5 minutes.
I come on as Al Jolson. Speaking of,
Actually, you know what you should do?
they
I'll tell
don't
you
know
what to
who
do.
that is.
Get snippets of this Dick Tracy interview or this Dick Tracy piece and just use as your thingo. Answer it like Warren Beatty and go, pomegranates. Pomegranates.
It's
I should
stammer.
have pre-recorded myself so I can be on another computer
And
and
just
come in as myself.
Could have Eric
Yeah,
and
that's what I was hoping
Dick
for.
Tracy Eric.
What I should have done. But I just don't know. I don't know what to think about it. I guess we touched upon more or less all the points. There's not a terrible amount to talk
Yeah,
about. Except,
it's not a deep topic. It's not the first time he's done this.
yeah, there is the
this
one thing
is-
we haven't talked about though is he did tease a Dick Tracy returns, but it could just be blowing smoke up the audience.
Well, that's why I was like, could he be thinking about doing something, because he does the thing at the end where they have lunch, and I think it'd be cool if Beatty directed a Dick Tracy movie and got someone else to play Tracy.
There's the question: who plays Dick Tracy?
Um,
And Mark Ruffalo is not an answer.
you could
So
always
you-
get like Henry Cavill or something. He'll
Oh
do
no.
And would they do the bent prosthetic this time? The bent nose
Yeah.
prosthetic that they didn't do. And would it look like the one from 1990? I don't think he'd have the budget for that, quite frankly.
No,
It would have to
I
be
don't
like
think
a-
he wouldn't
enough
have
money.
the balls to do that. Yeah, he wouldn't have the balls to do that again. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any value? Maybe that's not the question, but I'll go with it. Do you think there's any value in doing what Walter Hill and Martin Scorsese, I believe too, wanted to do with the character before Beatty got his hands on it, which was do this R-rated crime movie?
It's possible. Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, if it's
Better than
good.
a musical, I think. Better
Sure.
than doing a musical comedy version.
Wouldn't
I
it
would-
be
it's
interesting
funny
if you
'cause
do
I've
the
been watching-
R-rated? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been watching Untouchables episodes from the first season, and I'm stunned how violent that show actually is for like a 1950s Desilu production. And I was thinking maybe this is how he should do like a Dick Tracy return for streaming or something. Do it like an Untouchables TV show.
Yeah.
And just make it very matter of fact and straight to the point, and no fat, no bloat, no musical numbers, and just kind of make it like a
But would the
straightforward
first film?
1930s crime thing.
But would the first film be so jarring to those watching it?
Yeah.
Usually, most people watch the returns and go, "I want to go back and watch the original." And go, well, "What the hell is this? Is a comedy?"
Yeah,
musical?"
what is this fruity stuff? You know?
Exactly.
But that was the reaction when it came out. I think a lot of people were disappointed. They thought they were going to get some sort of kind of tough, violent thing, and they get this kind of goofy musical that he made that movie like it was 1967 or 66, and Hollywood was still financing big, colorful musicals and bombing.
But what
with
was the
them.
trailer like for the audience to be so confused? I know that there was a lot of Tommy gun
Stark.
action.
I remember it when I watched it in the theaters. It was like, "Oh, this is really friggin' bright. This is colorful." Sorry, is the term I'm looking for. This is really.
There was like
colorful.
Pacino was yelling Tracy, 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 and there were shots of Beatty with the Tommy gun firing it and cars blowing up, and they made it look like it was going to be like this kind of colorful gangster action pick, and which it
So
wasn't.
kind of like Batman 89, but more colorful, because the
Oh,
Batman
yeah.
89
Yeah.
trailer is very stark and doesn't have a lot of music or anything,
No.
and you don't even know what the hell's going on except that there's Batman, there's Joker.
And they got Danny
Um,
Elfman to do the non-Sondheim stuff,
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
give it kind of that Batman flavor.
Well, we got
If
a
there was
Madonna
like
soundtrack. Or
Madonna
Is it
songs.
hard to? I don't know about you, but it's kind of difficult for me, even though the film wasn't like a giant hit or anything like that. But it has legs in a bizarre way, and I think this specials like this give it even more legs, because it's like,
Yeah.
what is going on here? But isn't it difficult to imagine any further Dick Tracy media that doesn't look like the Beatty 1990 version?
It's certainly hard for me just because that's the way Dick Tracy looked when I was growing up. The yellow coat,
Right.
very colorful, big faces, hideously deformed gangsters that look like monsters from the movie Society. Um, they just it just has
Butthead.
the hey, you're right. I am a butthead. I'm a Dick Tracy villain, butthead. Um, flat top and butthead. But it's hard for me to imagine. But
It's like
the thing,
Frankenstein. It's like
yeah,
Frankenstein. The Frankenstein, the original Universal one, or the 31 one, is not really meant to look like that, but it's now
It's-
Well,
common.
That's interesting.
I
Yeah,
think-
that's the
I think-
iconic version of Frankenstein visually. That is iconic, and yet they've done so much more different things after that. So I guess you're right. Yeah,
Mm.
like they could do something different with Dick Tracy.
I think
And
I think one thing that gives this movie legs too is that it is, as far as comic book movies go, it's really weird. And these days, comic book movies are so homogenized and just the same goopy gray gobs of gunk that we've been getting. It kind of reminds you of a time when these things could be different and wacky and strange, even if it's not exactly what you wanted. I know in Beatty's Dick Tracy, I wanted a lot more action, and there's too much action that's done via montage in it. I thought
Yeah,
it could have
it
used a
needed
little more of that, but
needed more Tommy gun stuff.
yeah,
Or anything really.
less musical stuff. Although that's one thing that makes it so bizarre is that it has songs by Stephen Sondheim.
Less
That's
Madonna.
so weird.
As well.
I like the movie. I mean, we discussed this a year and a half ago or 2 years, however long ago it was, but I like the movie. Like you said, it's missing a few action set pieces, and obviously it's a visual triumph.
Yeah.
With this, I found that for the most part it was boring until Warren Beatty was conversing with Dick Tracy. I thought, oh, this is actually interesting.
That's what I meant when I was like, oh, this feels weak, contentious. Ooh, and then I went, wait, this is the same guy talking to himself. But but it was so odd that he spent so much time dogging on his own movie and so little time talking about the older films. In the last special, he talked a lot about the older films, and in this one, he just kind of touches on them to say they're more realistic, or this guy, he can play me,
Yeah, it's funny to hear you youngsters talk about the like the Warren Beatty movie was your exposure to the character. I first saw like one of the Morgan Conway movies on WTBS back in like 1980. And I just knew him as a comic strip character. And so when I tuned in, it just looked like an Untouchables episode. It was just, guys in suits shooting and punching each other pretty much. And that's all I remembered. So I was kind of stunned when I saw the Beatty movie, and it was just like 10 minutes of musical numbers and some of the campy stuff, even though I enjoyed it, but it was a little weird. I thought he should have, and I think he's probably having regrets about it. I think he thinks he should have taken like a more serious, like this should have been like the Tim Burton Batman movies.
Do you think?
Yeah. How about keep the look?
Yeah.
How about keep the look, but do the hard edge stuff that he wants to do? I think that'd be a fine thing to juxtapose the cartoonishness of it.
Do any of you guys think that? Now, help me out. Was Dick Tracy a serial in the 30s or 40s at all?
Yeah, there were 3 serials, I think, 3 or 4.
Okay,
and they're all pretty good. They're good Republic serials.
Do you think that Beatty himself is having some regrets about what he's done? Because if you look at the serials, you had the Batman serials. I think it was 2 of those.
Yeah,
and now they were mediocre compared to later Batman incarnations. Superman the same. It got better with George Reeves, and then obviously Christopher Reeve later on. It got better. So the serials got buried. The Phantom as well, the Billy Zane film, The Shadow as well. The 2 Shadow films, they're awful, but The Shadow, God forbid, Alec Baldwin is actually a damn good film.
Yeah, I like them.
But Dick Tracy, the serials,
the Master of Death.
Yeah, Rust never sleeps. But the thing is, with the Dick Tracy one, you got the serials, but then you go to this really stark, cartoonish film. So you've gone from the basis or the foundation with the serials and the early characters on screen to much better versions of them later on. but it's backwards
We're
with Dick
talk-
Tracy.
Right. We're talking about features because there is a Dick Tracy cartoon.
Yes, I know. That was
No,
my
I know
first
you do.
exposure as a kid, actually.
Yeah.
In the late 70s or early
Yeah.
80s.
I don't know. When the film came out, those ran on TV. I don't know if they revived them to bring them back on the television, but I
Yeah,
remember
they
those were
did. I
playing.
saw them.
Mhm. So yeah, that's what I was getting at was does
Well, and you know,
Beatty have
The
regrets?
reverse. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's reversed. The older version of Dick Tracy is much better
Mhm.
compared to the cartoonish, bright,
Yeah.
musical version of Dick Tracy.
And Ralph Bird was a perfectly cast Dick Tracy in those Republic serials. He looks like a real version of the comic strip character, square jawed and dark hair and the hat and everything. And he's good in the fight scenes. The irony is he died of a heart attack shooting the Dick Tracy TV show in the 1950s.
Hmm.
And
Oh,
he wanted
really?
to get away from the role, but they had Morgan, what's his name? Morgan, is it Morgan Conway, I think, in the
Conway.
in the-
Yeah.
Come on, yeah.
yeah, he did the movies, and theater owners said their customers wanted Ralph Bird back in the role, so they got Ralph Bird for either the final movie or for the TV shows. And Bird died of a heart attack. He's only like in his 40s or something, and it's the 1950s. Men weren't as healthy at that time, and he had a heart attack while making the TV show.
Well, he did the fourth movie, which was Meets Gruesome.
Yeah.
And I think they brought him back for the show, like you said. I saw Meets Gruesome thinking that I had seen it before last night, but I remember the beginning of it, but then the rest I don't remember at all. So it was like watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
What would you say is the best
It
of
was
those
good.
4 Dick Tracy films? Which one do you like the most?
I like the gruesome one the most,
Yeah.
actually.
Is it
From
the
what I
Boris
remember. Yeah.
Karloff?
It's pretty
Yeah?
good.
Yeah. that
Boris
is-
Karloff, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I think I like all 4 from memory. I enjoy Cube. Is it versus Cube Ball,
Cue Ball?
meets Cube Ball, whatever it was? Yeah.
Something
Sounds
like
about
that.
right.
Yeah. First one was fine. And the second one was at Dick Tracy's Return. Dick Tracy Returns?
I believe so, because it's weird because I try to keep up with them, but they're kind of back and forth on streaming, particularly in public domain streaming. And so they just kind of pop up and they go away, and then they pop up again, and I'm
Well,
never
then
sure what's going
Beatty
on.
won't
I
be
can never keep this.
Well, Beatty won't be calling his next one if it ever comes to fruition. Dick Tracy Returns, we've already got one of those.
Right. The best version, I think, is the first Republic serial. A lot of special effects and stunt work. Unlike your typical Republic serial where it's recycled, most of that stuff was made for the Dick Tracy serial. So it's original stuff. It works really well. It's very well paced.
Did you ever see the Batman one from 44? I think it was.
I've seen that.
Have you seen some of
That's
the
Batman
quotes in
versus
that?
the Japanese.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Daka.
Some of the descriptions about the Japanese shit. Okay.
Yeah. Supposedly it was supposed to be the Joker, and they had it replaced with Japanese villains at the last minute, because I guess early posters showed the actor playing is it J. Carroll Nash, I think, playing Dr. Daka.
Yeah.
He's depicted as the Joker on the early preview posters that were in theaters maybe 3 or 4 months before it was released. And so they think that at the last minute they said, no, they've got to be Japatuas because going to support the war effort and all that stuff. Batman and Robin are working for the government. They can't be vigilantes. They're government agents. So, and they're driving around like a normal, like Edsel or whatever, just driving around Gotham City, and it just looks like a California backlot. So, but the first serial is actually pretty good. It's faithful to the comic books in a way that all the theatrical films never really were, except for the Adam West one.
What are you guys' thoughts on The Rocketeer? I've never seen it, but I do know Commando Cody serial, which is basically what
I enjoy
it is.
It's a fun movie. I like it more each time I watch it. I didn't care much for it the first time I saw it, but it was a pan and scan VHS tape. So it's not really a fair way to judge it. When it popped up on Netflix, I watched it a couple of times and really, really liked it. And it's in some ways improves on the Dave Stevens comic book concept, which was Stevens was kind of a perfectionist and not probably the best storyteller in a way, even though his artwork was brilliant and fantastic. But I think they made an improvement. It's too bad it flopped. It opened the same summer as Terminator 2. And I'm sure a PG-rated Disney adventure film looked pretty dorky compared to Schwarzenegger playing a good Terminator, though in retrospect, that's actually dorkier than anything in The Rocketeer.
Yeah. But the Rocketeer, Rocketeer Better's Commando Cody. Is that right?
It's totally based on King of the Rocket Men. I think that's
Oh,
the original
okay.
character. Yeah, the
Out
original
of the
series
four,
is all based on.
out of the 4 or 5 old timey comic strip or old timey radio characters that they revived in the '90s, Dick Tracy included. Actually, I like the Rocketeer the best.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've never
it's
seen
a
it.
good movie. Even though he wasn't created then. He was created in like 1981
In the
or
'80s,
something.
right? Yeah, I should
Yeah.
point that out. But the spirit of it lies in.
Yeah, he's a hybrid of every Republic serial Rocket Man type thing. Because Dave Stevens was a fanatic for all that stuff. He loved Doc Savage paperbacks and he loved Republic serials. So he kind of just threw him into the comic book. And Betty Page, Jennifer Connelly, of course, does not have the Betty Page look in the film because it's a Disney movie.
Yeah. What is the go with the Crimson Ghost? Why we've only got the one serial and that is it?
They didn't really do sequels like crazy at that studio. For
Why
some
have
reason.
no one with all the Misfit stuff going around? Why has it never been picked up and said, here's some money. Here's some money we can make off of this character.
I think it's a public domain image because I think the Republic serials, they didn't renew the copyrights on them in the 1960s or 70s when they had to.
So there's the perfect opportunity. We're just talking about why the Crimson Ghost has never been made ever again after that one serial. Not even for a TV show, not for a animated, nothing.
Even though Misfits is bigger than it ever has been, I think it's still a pretty niche audience that studios probably don't want to bankroll a giant movie about it.
Well, that means
And
it's time
the
for
Crimson
the fans
Ghost
to step
character.
in.
Yeah.
And do the Crimson Ghost meets Jerry Only. Or
Mhm.
the Misfits meet the Crimson Ghost.
I tell you what, I don't know if you guys have heard it, but that Jerry Only solo album.
No,
He did a solo album.
Bad. Yeah.
He's not a good singer.
It is bad.
The worst incarnation of the Misfits was like
with Des Cadena.
Him. I mean, okay.
All right. Well, we've got Hunter frozen. I bet she's going to say Des Cadena, Marco Ramone. Yeah, that's a good thumbnail actually.
Which I saw like.
You look very stoic there for a second. Like
we heard nothing. This was you for about 30 seconds.
Just like this. So
yeah, my connection froze. Y'all froze. So I figured. But I was going to say that that version of the Misfits was great live, and they did Des sang Black Flag songs he originally sang. That was so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the original music they did, like Devil's Rain, just some of the worst trash ever.
It is
recorded.
bad. It is
like
basically the
nothing.
Rolodex of sci-fi and horror films from the 50s and 60s, and this, yeah, that'll do.
Just lazy
yeah.
garbage.
Yeah,
Danzig's into filmmaking now. Why doesn't he make his own Crimson Ghost serial?
Yeah.
About the same level of
He'd probably give the Crimson Ghost huge breasts.
huge
know,
tits, of course.
The Crimson Ghost would really be Henry Rollins
with giant
under a
cleavage.
mask.
You know,
Yeah.
Do an R-rated Crimson Ghost revival.
Reality-wise, he'd probably be eating all the ice cream that's in the fridge at the Rainbow Bar and Grill.
The Crimson Ghost be out to
Don't ask me how I know.
to sabotage all the French onion soup stock.
Yeah. The Crimson Ghost in the case of the French onion soup.
Crimson Ghost gets knocked out by the Northside King guy.
Crimson Ghost in the box of Fruity Pebbles or Frankenberry.
Crimson Ghost cancels his evil plans because he didn't get soup that day.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen that picture that was been going around for a few years of Danzig's house? That was up for sale.
Yeah.
All the bricks out the front, all the weeds growing bricks.
Have you heard?
Isn't there like a giant plush Oreo cookie in the living room or something, and they discarded in the corner?
There was that viral story about Danzig's pile of bricks. His neighbor asking him to move his pile of bricks. Him going outside going, "I'm moving the pile of bricks."
It's a very bad upkeep for a gay man, I thought.
Yeah. He also Danzig's one of the greatest videos on YouTube is Danzig's library, where he takes you through his book collection.
God, he's reading the lost stories of the Bible shirtless. He's like, come off it, Glenn. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I probably
Oh,
know
man.
more about the Bible than the Christians.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've read the Gnostic Gospels. They was playing God when they removed him.
Jesus walked on this guy and stood on him and said, "Fuck you." Oh, he didn't say that.
But it is stories like that where it's like, he killed this guy.
written by
Yeah.
written by Erie Vaughn and Glenn Danzig.
But yeah, Danzig, lots of good stories about Danzig. Yeah.
And him walking around. There's another
you seen
picture of
those-
him coming back from the supermarket with big bags of cat litter.
Cat litter, yeah.
Shopping bags.
It's for my cats. What you got to say about motherfucker?
Yeah. Who says I ain't
Have
got
you
no
seen him,
pussy? Huh?
Have you seen his movie reviews for that zine?
No.
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 Oh, those are crawling around somewhere on the net. Just type in Danzig movie zine reviews, and he covers everything. I think he covers Back to the Future, which he trashes, and of course, and then he reviews Dark Crystal, and he says, "Yeah, I was going to trash this, but it was pretty good." You like
Trying
the
to
dark
find these
aspect
right
of it, and
now.
the kids. Yeah, I'll send you a link.
Yeah, when I
Danzig
saw them at
reviews,
Riot
Ro-
Fest, they had the
Danzig
reunion.
reviews
Somebody
the
talk.
Road Warrior.
And
This
Danzig's
is just-
banter between songs was so bad. It was just like because he didn't plan it at all. He's like these fucking pumpkins and had these giant pumpkin displays and goes, when you like them in your yard for Halloween? You say your name is fuck you, motherfucker. And it's just like no punchline, no build up, just
Oh my
fucking cool,
god.
huh? And then he was forgetting the lyrics to all of his damn songs. I mean, he
Yeah.
was just because he overwrote them. They have too many lyrics, so he couldn't remember everything.
He's got the easy way out. Microphone into
Yeah.
the crowd. I can't remember these words.
Here's
That's the way
his
they always do it.
here's his review of Halloween 3
Just
Season
found
of the
some.
Witch.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 doesn't even deserve a full review. This one sucks, and the night he came home should have been the night he visited Deborah Hill and John Carpenter.
That's the best review of it I've ever heard.
That's
Yeah.
the most honest, yeah.
Basket Case, Creep Show, Road Warrior. Where's the
yeah.
one with? Yeah, this is the easiest one to find, but there's a few more. Pee Wee's Big
gotta be.
Adventure. First, let me state I've always been a big fan of Pee Wee. So it comes,
Sure,
it comes as it comes as no surprise to me that this movie was great. The dance scene in the biker bar is alone worth the price of admission. I couldn't stop laughing during that whole scene. Lots of other funny scenes, but I don't want to give it away.
Does
This is
Danzig
about as
even
good as-
laugh? I don't think he ever laughs, does he?
Yeah, he seems pretty humorless.
Yeah.
This is about as good as it gets for comedy. So if you haven't seen this yet, get it fucking done.
Oh, are you guys ready? Here's Glenn Danzig reviewing Sudden Impact.
Oh, really?
Never thought I'd be reviewing a Clint Eastwood flick, but it's actually it's actually one of the better films this time out. Kind of predictable, but Eastwood has some good one-liners as he tracks down a killer whose victims all have their balls shot off. Lots of violence too. Too bad it wasn't rated R instead of PG.
Was it rated PG?
Sudden Impact is probably the most violent, dirty.
I was
Harry
going to
movie.
say.
Wait, so he also has, are you ready for this? Here is Glenn Danzig's review of Star 80.
God.
The Bob Fosse cult film about the life and death of playmate Dorothy Stratton. Muriel Hemingway is a dead yuck ringer for Stratton, which makes this much more believable than the TV exploitation version with Jamie Lee Curtis. This version contains stuff you'd never see in the TV version, like nudity, language, and a murder rape scene, only it should have been more graphic. Star 80 is the best of the lot at this time out, which isn't saying much. Too bad there wasn't a film like this about Maryland. We'll send whores to your house, Bob Fosse. I'm just kidding. He didn't say that. Too bad he just got
wasn't
blonde.
the Larry Buchanan movie like that? The Goodbye Norma Jean.
Do you think Danzig was a fan of Blonde, the Andrew Dominic Maryland movie?
Doubt it.
He
Not
had a
enough-
big
not enough
Maryland
rape.
obsession.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he did. Who killed Marilyn?
There's not enough rape in it for him. So
Yeah, I love that he complains that there's not enough. This one should have been more graphic. I wanted to see Dorothy Stratton really get it.
I
I'd
want.
like to think. What does he think about the rape in Death Wish 2? I wonder. Should be
Oh,
more up
yeah.
his
It's probably
alley.
his favorite movie.
Jeez.
Trying
A
to
lot
think.
of raping in this one.
That's just a lot of rape in
She
that.
got it so good she jumped off and got a spear through her. Because it's never gonna be
That
better
was
than
a
after
good
that.
scene.
Okay. Oh, John. Here's one. Glenn Danzig reviews Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Oh
Oh
god.
boy.
When I heard that Byron Kennedy, the man behind Max, had died, but production on Max 3 was to continue, I had my doubts. Well, I was half wrong. This new Max is great for the first 30-40 minutes, right up until he's expelled from Bartertown, the first town of the new civilization. But then it's downhill as Max, does he say, meets up with a bunch of little kids and plays daddy. So to salvage the film comes the end sequence, which is a total rehash of the end chase scene from Mad Max 2, Road Warrior. Tina Turner is not as bad as most critics say, and this flick still outshines the other crud floating around like the next film up, which is Day of the Dead.
Oh wow.
He's he said this is the biggest disappointment of the year.
I agree with him.
Yeah, I was about to say you and him are on the same page with that one.
Yeah.
Romero saved all the stuff he wanted to see for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's right.
But what's the review?
Make sure you sat there waiting for it.
He goes, supposedly the sequel to the end all sequels. Don't bet on it. Billed for years by Romero to be the Living Dead film to end all Living Dead films. The dead will finally meet the living in one giant battle for the control of Earth. Too bad that's not what this film is about. Dawn of the Dead was an epic compared to this. Again, we get a handful of individuals in isolation fending off the dead. The special effects were good, but someone should tell Savini that dried up reanimated corpses do not bleed profusely when vivisected. No plot.
He's right.
And
He's
the
right.
laughable dialogue is the biggest disappointment of the year. Beware, there will most definitely be a sequel. He was right about that.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And yet the
Took a
Misfits
while.
wrote a song called Day of the Dead.
Right.
Not with him.
Well,
but
not the Danzig Misfits.
not the dancing one, no.
Yeah.
The Proud Boy Michael Graves Misfits.
Yes. That one.
Yeah. The Gavin McInnes Misfits.
Mm.
Was he at Jan 6?
Gavin?
No.
Or Danzig?
Michael
Michael
Graves.
Graves.
Not Danzig. Michael Graves.
Yeah,
He could have
he's a-
been.
he's a
You
Proud
never
Boy.
know. The dude from Iced Earth was there. He got in trouble.
Mm.
Yeah. No, I don't think Michael Graves is there. He's Canadian. He resides in Canada somewhere, I think.
Not finding
but
any
he's-
other gold. There's you
They
know.
forced suicided him at the euthanasia clinics they got up there.
Justin Castro did that, did he?
Justin Castro. Yeah. Well, I don't think this is a known thing, but it's the truth. I think it was November or December of last year. It was the number one cause of death was the euthanasia clinics in Canada for about a 2-week period. Sounds like bullshit, but it was.
Mm.
They
Just
gave us
after the
Elsie
election.
movies and Ivan Reitman. So what else do you need? It's a ruthless country.
John,
Heavy metal
here's
type.
another Danzig take that sounds like something you would say.
Okay.
Christine, car comes to life, car kills people. Boo, scary. The only scary thing about this is that it is just made Stephen King even richer than he already is, thus provoking him to crank out more stupid stories, which will be made into stupider movies that tons of stupid people will pay to see. Even Carpenter can't save this one.
I agree.
He's not
Agree
wrong.
with every
man.
word. Stephen King movies are stupid. And his books are even stupider.
I read it, and my God, it took me forever to get through that thing.
Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
My condolences.
Did you enjoy the scene? You know, the one I'm talking about? The one
underage
everybody loves to
gangbang.
remind.
The one, the
Stephen
meme that
King
was a
he
meme
wrote.
5 years ago. Yeah.
The one that is that going to be in the movie? Yikes!
No, there's nothing weird on Stephen King's
Never.
hard drive. Nothing at all.
No, nothing weird on there.
It's
No.
it's a running theme with him and his other books. I
Yeah.
remember as a 12-year-old reading The Shining, and the dog man has a much bigger role in the book than he does in the film.
Of course.
And of course he does, right?
Mm.
And he corners little Danny in the hallway somewhere, and he just says, let me see that plump little cock. It's just like, what is this? What am I reading? Creeped me out as a 12-year-old.
You're reading a closeted pedophile snorting coke while he writes his horror novel. You know?
I mean, if he's not a pedo, then it's just he's just one of these guys that, especially at that time, where they just did it for shock's sake, and they still think it's shocking. So I'm sure his books are still littered with that kind of crap.
Oh, yeah.
So I think we need a new game: Glenn Danzig or John Grace. You ready for this one? Return of the Jedi. If you like The Wizard of Oz, you'll love the Star Wars saga. Princess Leia is Dorothy, Arthur is Toto, Luke Han and Chewie are the Scarecrow, Tin Man, and Cowardly Lion. I hate Star Wars. Give me Basket Case any day.
It's funny.
When do we start getting Glenn Danzig commentaries for films? That would be worth repurchasing.
You think he's got one for his own movies? By the
Oh.
way, he announced his third film. It's a werewolf biker movie. Just letting you know.
I mean, I am trying to find that
the Western one.
But yeah, the Western one. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not even on streaming.
Anywhere.
They've never made it to streaming, as far as I know.
Right? It played at a theater. We went to go see something else, but I was very tempted. And I was like, oh yeah, I'd go watch. I mean, it's going to be terrible and boring, but I'd go watch this. What a surprise! Go to the multiplex, and there's Danzig's, whatever the hell it's called, Death Rider of the Sage, and but I pulled the lever for the other movie, which I've since forgotten, because I knew we were going to be stuck in that saloon for 90 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to be there.
And now no one.
The trailer was nothing. Yeah, the trailer was nothing but like the whorehouse saloon. I was just like, we're gonna be stuck here the whole movie.
Yeah.
No, thanks.
The one set film.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe the worst trend of streaming movies.
It looked like from Dusk Till Dawn 3. That's what it reminded me of.
Here's
Probably
another
some
good one.
derivatives of that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Similar. Which I didn't mind that
Cujo.
one. 2 was
Cujo.
terrible. Those movies, fucking hell.
Okay. It would be easy to call this one Dog of the Month, but this goes beyond bad. Written by Steven, I wish I could write a great horror movie, King. This one is so hokey, it's beyond belief. And I paid $5 to see this crud. The monster is a Saint Bernard. Yep, that's right, a doggy. I'll bet you're scared already, right? No story. No story, no blood, no sex. So why an R rating? To make you think you're going to see something you never get to see. This one's is bore, not gore.
It's very, very Fangoria of the 1980s. They were obsessed with their gore. Like now they're rewriting history and claiming Fangoria was all about SJWs and shit, but it was all about idiots wanting to see gore scenes.
Yeah.
You are not wrong. You cannot find Death Rider in the House of Vampires at all.
Nowhere. It's not even on
Never
the.
seen it not on Tubi.
However,
not on
people also search for Coroner Creek with Randolph Scott. I mean, it's a pretty extreme film for Randy, but come on.
You cannot even get that Danzig film on the Bay. It's nowhere. I don't know what the fuck. I mean, buried. I mean, there's the one film I can think of in recent years that is literally buried. It's just
Veronica ended up being a meme basically because of how terrible it was, and I'm sure this one is bad too, or if not worse. But it's probably so bad it's unwatchable.
So Danzig's
we gotta watch his Western. We gotta watch.
We can't. That's what we're saying. We can't find it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. It's not easy to find.
You cannot find it anywhere.
It's nowhere. I guess he
never
didn't get
seen
a
any of his
distribution deal
movies.
outside of the limited release that he got in the theaters.
He's pulling a Russ Meyer and holding on to those himself. He's no Russ Meyer.
Only difference is there's 4 guys that want to watch it, and that's it.
Like Russ Meyer films. Yeah.
Not even pirate. Excuse me. Not even Black Flag Bay, you're
Yeah.
saying?
Black Flag Bay.
Yeah.
Skull and
Man.
Crossbones Bay.
He has
Sorry, that-
successfully obscured those films where you cannot find them even on torrent sites or anything.
Well, let me see Veronica, because that was like a big deal for a little while. Veronica.
Hmm.
Yeah. Veronica's got the works. Sling TV, Roku, Amazon Prime. You
Okay.
can rent it for
You can watch it
practically
on
everything.
Roku.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see you can buy the Blu-ray.
Of the
Yeah.
Western one?
Veronica.
Oh, Veronica. Okay.
But no
But-
Blu-ray or DVD or anything of the Western.
Let's see.
No, it's
Audience review.
disappeared. It's gone. It doesn't exist.
It's weird.
Not even Hamilton Books has it.
How is this possible? This has been out for 2 years.
Okay, Veronica, you can rent on Prime Video.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's everywhere.
$3. Okay.
So unless
Yeah.
this Western one is so bad, he's thought, no, I'm just gonna.
Where can you
Shelve it.
watch Death Rider in the House of Vampires? According to Google, Peacock, Vudu, Netflix streaming. Yeah, I don't believe this.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll
That's a
look for
lot.
it on Peacock tonight when we're done with the show and see if it's there.
Well, you can't
I
get a
have a
DVD
Peacock
or
subscription.
Blu-ray, but you can get a lobby card for $30. They do lobby cards still? Probably for this
Oh, they
release.
do for that. Yeah, they do for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice throwback.
Yeah.
It is. It's a throwback, but it just looks weird with this high-res digital picture.
I
on
dare
it.
say after this episode's drop, we'll probably get a message from Garrow here. There's a link to the movie somehow. I don't know where Garrow finds his movies, but
Movie's been out for 2 years. You can buy the lobby card set for $30. There's only 500 made.
yeah, bullshit.
6 in stock left.
They
I'm
always
not
do
even
that.
seeing. I'm not even seeing it on Just Watch, which tells you where to stream or rent or buy anything digitally. I don't even
This
see
is
it listed.
bizarre.
The only place you can watch it is a house with bricks out the front and weeds, and a small man
I don't
inside.
live very far from that house, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Take a
about
photo of yourself out the
mile.
front, just real quick.
Okay. All right. I
And by
will.
the way,
do.
that movie
try it.
has missing actor Julian Sands in it.
Missing
Ooh.
film,
Oh,
missing
weird.
actor. Mm.
Yeah.
See, we came to figure out what the mystery behind what Warren Beatty was thinking, and now we're leaving with where the fuck can you get Danzig's Western? And you can't
Yeah.
anywhere.
That's terrible. And we know it's terrible.
and it
without
has
seeing it.
former '90s heartthrob Devon Sawa.
Someone.
So
My goodness. I have to see this movie. It looks so bad.
I want to
Did
see
you
it
watch
too.
the?
Like,
Did anybody watch Veronica? I didn't.
No.
never
No.
saw it.
I just heard it was like Tommy Wiseau levels of bad, which intrigued me,
Oof.
but it looks like one of those movies like, you watch it and the wife walks in and you have some splaining to do.
Didn't he have a second movie?
Without a doubt.
Didn't Tommy Wiseau have a second film he did?
Best
a ro-
Friends.
A road
He's
movie,
done
yeah.
a few. He's done a few, but
He
the thing
did.
is
He did one.
With Greg Sestero,
What?
I think it was in it as well.
yeah, Best Friends.
He did
bet-
a
okay.
shark movie where LA is flooded by sharks or something like that, and then it disappeared and I never saw it. It's like Sharknado level
Hmm.
CGI.
Tommy's
Jim
a sore
Wynorski
subject
directed?
for Malloy.
Oh yeah, he loves Tommy Wiseau. It's his favorite actor.
Yeah.
So
I always tell anytime Malloy talks to students, I always tell them be sure to bring up Tommy Wiseau because it makes him extra grumpy.
yeah, its initial release was 2019. It's called Big Shark.
I call
the Yeah.
movie Big Shark.
But Tommy's been trying
New
to lean
Orleans.
into this. He's been trying to lean into his room persona, but it doesn't work because the room was an accident,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
tries to do it intentionally and it's
Yeah,
just it
doesn't work.
always just
He
comes
needs
off as
to
try hard.
continue. He needs to continue being an accident, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's like 70 something years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's way older than he looks.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't look young, but he's one of those people you can't pinpoint. Like, where's he from? How old is he? He's just one of those weird creatures.
That book that Greg Sestero wrote, I forgot the name of it. I've read it a number of
The
times.
Disaster Artist.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that is a great read. It's gives you a real window into Tommy Wiseau's mentality and everything about the guy.
Do you get the sense that he got into some sort of accident with a commercial vehicle, and that explains his retardation, and also how he has vast amounts of wealth? Because he
It
just
says it in the
that
book. He
company.
got it through property. He did it by doing odd jobs and just saving, and buying this. He bought this massive building in San Francisco somewhere. That's worth
He might be
millions.
an idiot savant that way, but I think the more likely thing is he got run over by a commercial car or something to that extent, which explains the
No, it was a car
brain
accident.
not working.
It was a car accident he was in.
It was a car accident, and then
Yes.
maybe he sued the shit out of some company
Most
and then
likely.
bought up a bunch of property
Yeah.
with that money.
Yeah, no, it was a car accident where the car rolled numerous times, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I certainly thought it was possible that the room was a money laundering operation, but
Probably could have been.
It could be. Don't rule it out. I've never seen it. I've only
You've
seen his
never
appearance
seen
on
it?
Red Eye like 12 years ago, and that was
I think it only works as a montage on YouTube, like 17-minute clips. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
sit with
I
it.
don't need to see 5 or 6 sex scenes with Tommy Wiseau over and over.
Oh
No
my
thanks. Throughout the
gosh.
whole
But
film.
that's
It's just
that's one that it's a lot of fun to watch with friends.
Mm.
Watching it by yourself
Sure.
is
it's
weird.
a
But I
chore.
remember the first time I saw it, my roommate brought it home and he had it on DVD and he was just like, "We're watching this right now. This is the funniest thing I've ever seen." And we popped it in, and it just the way it was a magical experience.
Which
You know,
roommate
just
was that one? Who was that?
that was Chris.
Oh, Chris. Oh, yeah. I can imagine him picking that up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He introduced me to that. He initiated me into the cult of Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those are definitely social experiences. Like I figure that has to be it with Blair Witch Project, which
Mhm.
everybody saw in the theater. I thought it was amazing. I saw it at home alone on DVD in the early days and just didn't get it. You know,
I think a lot of comedies are like that too. Like I think a lot of a comedy's great when it works well at home, because
Yeah.
there's certainly comedies that I saw in the theater that I remember just busting my gut laughing, and then seeing them at home and going,
Yeah. Second
know,
time round, it's not as good.
there's just something about the energy in the room. But
A
you
lot
know,
of comedies are communal. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
If a movie works at home by yourself and it's a comedy, then it's really funny.
yeah.
I
Well,
can't
Chris
remember
turned me
the
on
last
to-
time it worked.
Chris turned me on to Troll 2. He and I watched that together, and we were fucking rolling, mate.
Yeah.
We were laughing our ass off watching that thing.
Yeah.
Did you
watch it
watch
by
the,
yourself.
doc?
What?
Did you watch the doc, the worst movie ever made, or whatever it's called?
The dog?
Best worst movie, Troll 2.
Oh, the documentary.
yes,
yeah,
I
I've seen
did.
it as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where that guy's
Yeah,
at
I've
the
seen that
convention and he's just on there on his own. No one goes to his table. Just no one knows about Troll 2.
It
No one
was
gives a
kind
shit.
of
Did you get the feeling that even though he had kids and a wife, that
Little Light in the
wasn't
Loafers.
interested in women? Yeah. Did you get that
yeah,
feeling?
I got that sense,
Yeah.
but I thought that documentary kind of it made that convention circuit look like a place where talent goes to die.
Oh, it totally is. I mean, I didn't when he started shitting on the fans or whatever. Not that I need any of those guys need defending, but I don't know. I just felt kind of like, hey, hold on a second, you know.
Yeah.
I
like-
don't get conventions. I don't understand the appeal. I never have. I don't understand the appeal of, okay, I'm going to need $500 and I'm going to get a signature of this person who was in this obscure horror film from the 80s, and they're going to charge me $40 to sign my video. I don't understand it.
Mhm.
I never
It's
understood
depressing.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, if people, okay, let me get it out there. If people like doing it, God love you. Honestly, whatever makes you happy, go ahead, do it. I'm not shitting on those people, but I've never understood the appeal of going to a table, because they're not genuinely there. The actors are not genuinely there to say, hey, thanks for supporting me and what I do over the years. They're there to make money. They're pretending that they're happy to see you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, generally, whenever I've gone to one of those things, the stuff that's the most memorable is when there's a speaker event. Like I saw Udo Kier give a talk at Texas Frightmare. That was really interesting.
Mhm.
Because I got to get up there and ask him a question, and he gave a long response. But that was really memorable. But that was, you're seeing it. But the stuff with like the long lines to see like Kim Coates or whatever, I was just like, I don't get it. I'm not. I don't want to wait in a line that long for that.
It's a question for the land of the creeps, guys. Really.
Yeah, because they're super into that stuff, and they they love that stuff.
When I was at Chillicon, the best stuff was always the Q&As. I never stood in line to get anybody's autograph or anything like that, but the Q&As were always really good, especially if Fred Williamson was there. You always get some quote-worthy stuff, at least back in the 90s.
I had never been to one up until this past October. I went for documentary purposes. I was there hanging out at Gary Conway's table. The whole thing just felt sad and pathetic. I ended up talking to Sherry Curry, who was next to us the whole time about politics, pretty much.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did she talk about her ice sculpture that she does with chainsaws?
That was my in line. That was my like, hey, are you still chainsawing wood or whatever the hell, doing wood sculptures? And then we just immediately jumped into politics. And
No, yeah. What does she swing?
yeah.
Which way? Liberal,
Take a guess.
I imagine. Liberal?
No.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, wow. That's
No,
surprising.
no, that's how we talked, and then I knew from John had told me, and then I looked it up, and I'm like, I'm gonna talk politics with her. And within like 20 minutes, I got her dander up, and she was just like yelling at people whoever would come to the table was like, "You're not a liberal, are you?"
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Got her dander up. I like that.
It's pretty funny.
She still looks good, actually, for her age.
Yeah,
Curry. Yeah, she aged better than what Joan Jett did and some of the other runaways.
Mm.
Yeah, even Lita Ford sort of sour milked over the years. But yeah.
Yeah, she was asking people who they voted for and stuff. There was clearly a divide there. There was Sherry Curry before Eric and after. It was just like a stake in the sand. Like she wasn't trying to piss anybody off, and then afterwards she was trying to piss everybody off.
Mm.
She came January 6th, Sherry. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
Well, guys, do we want to rate Tracy Zooms In?
Really?
Is there any point?
Tough.
No.
I give it like a 2. It's just I don't see the
Is
point
it
of it.
better or worse than the first one?
I think it's
better. Say better.
It's better because it's weirder.
Yeah.
It's better because it's so bizarre, and it's going to be a very strange cultural artifact. The first one feels more like something that could exist for a reason other than to hold on the rights. Like it could be like, oh, we're looking back at Dick Tracy movies and we're going to do it with Beatty as Dick Tracy. Haha, isn't this cute? This one is very strange.
Why couldn't Warren Beatty have something written for him where it was actually entertaining for 25 minutes instead of him trying to write it with the guy who wrote the Dick Tracy film and coming up with an absolute disaster? He's talking about what was he talking about? Not cohabitation, cooperation or something. Collaboration. Sorry. Yet
he was talking about cohabitation with Madonna. That's what he was.
Not now with Marilyn Manson these days.
Back in the day, not.
Oh my God.
Not Madonna now.
Have you seen Madonna now? Oh my God.
Bad.
She's got some mental health issues.
She's going into.
She's looking like she's entering late phase Michael Jackson mode.
She looks like
she's
mechanical
probably been
animals.
Broken.
Madonna.
She's probably been broken for a very, very long time. But I think with her antics during COVID, I think that broke her finally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just
a lot of these celebrities lost their mind because they weren't getting attention anymore because they couldn't. The world like stood still.
Yeah, they were recording supercuts of them singing Imagine on Twitter.
Yeah, no, you got an interesting insight into the mechanics of them where it's just like, oh, I see. They're not cool because they're cool people. They're cool because they have other people surrounding them and telling them what to do.
They have handlers.
Yeah, if the handlers aren't there, you get some bizarre, cringe stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, Twitter kind of showed us that a little bit too,
Yeah,
just
unfiltered access to celebs.
You don't have the publicist being the barrier between the public and the celebrity. The celebrity can just fire off whatever stupid thing they think, and then everybody tells them they're dumb, and
Yeah, got to bring back the studio system. It's got to come back to save Hollywood.
It would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when it finally crashes and burns in a few years.
it's a studio system that needs to be run by, I'm going to say like, actual showmen,
Yeah.
not these bean counters like this dope who's running Warner Brothers right now, or these like sausage makers like the people running Disney who just want to make sequels and remakes and cram whatever trendy political garbage into it.
Did you guys see
Trouble
the
is, I don't know if there's any showmen anymore. That was a different breed of people.
Yeah,
I think
like
it's gone.
where's your Irving Thalbergs or your Louis B. Mayers?
did
They
you
need
guys
John
you saying, Stu?
Nolte, don't they, Hunter?
What?
They need John Nolte.
Yeah, if only his beautiful.
Uh-oh.
Oh no,
Looked like
We
flat
missed
top
it.
for a second there. Oh,
We
well.
missed
What were
the
you
joke.
saying, Stu?
I was saying, I forgot. I forgot. Something.
All right
wrong.
there, Joe.
Yeah. Oh, did any of you see the Disney piece that's going around about the who built this country? Slave did.
Oh, the
Oh
Proud
yeah,
Family?
yeah. That's
Proud
been getting
family. That's
around.
it. Yeah.
The Proud Family, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was I didn't watch it, but that was a beloved show 20 years ago.
Yeah, it was.
And they
Yep.
I think Dick Masterson's been making a big joke about Twitter, like how conservatives discover this stuff like 15 years later and get outraged about it. Which I'm sure there's a John Nolte column on Big Hollywood all complaining about it.
There was a video I saw that
That's got to be Hunter's next avatar for Facebook.
oh, there it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's my new Facebook profile pic. I look like Hunter
Yeah.
jacking off.
Oh no.
It was a classic.
Did you get it? Oh, I guess you're recording.
Oh
it,
yeah,
so-
yeah. I'll
yeah.
get it. Yeah.
Timestamp this.
My thing froze up again. My internet connection's getting a little wacky. I don't know
It's
what's
been
going
beautiful tonight. Don't worry. It was plenty of laughs
on.
at your
Sure, it's been
expense,
great for
brother.
y'all.
Yeah. Tell the mouse to run faster on the wheel. Oh,
It's happening again.
Yeah. Hey. All right, I'm back. Let's wrap this up because this is
Okay.
going to
oh
hell.
no, keep going for another 20 minutes. Gold. This is.
More Hunter memes.
Yeah.
So next up, Death Rider of the Purple Sage Vampire Plains.
Is that what it's called?
No, it's
No.
Death Rider of the House of the Vampire thing.
Yeah.
If anybody out there listening or watching can get us this film, we will review it.
Yeah.
If somebody out there can get
We
it
will.
to us, get it either message one of us and the others will get it. But yeah, we'd like to do it, but it's kind of hard to come by.
I can't believe it's
Yeah.
this difficult to find.
I know. In this day and age where everything's pretty much, in terms of films and
Yeah.
music and shit, is easy to find. This one, I think, hats off to Danzig. He's done all right guarding this one.
He's out Russ Meyer.
He has.
He sells
Yes.
it from his dilapidated house. Yeah.
Didn't
I'll
voice
take a
it
picture in
out.
front of that. He has to dig his hand inside the pile of bricks to pull out a copy.
He's got a little
Protected by a
USB.
pile of-
He's got a little USB like under about 40 bricks. Yeah, $5. It's yours. And the whore.
VHS only.
Yeah. The true format.
Oh no.
What
I got a
Deal.
Super 8.
He needs to review his own movies. I like this one.
Best thing
Go
I've
on.
seen in
Just
20
not done it
years.
this time.
A lot of titties.
Yeah. Plastic, who cares?
What are you gonna
Alright.
do? Watch Avatar 2 for the 5th time?
Yeah. All right. Who's rating this? Is Dick Tracy thing, whatever it's called?
You
I
gave
give
it 2. I will give it. I'm gonna give it on the scale of weird. It's gonna be an 8.5 out of 10. As far as quality, it's gonna be, like a 3 or something. It's very lazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just
I think it's.
I did get some laughs out of it though.
I'm with you, Eric. I think at best we'll say it's a nice cultural artifact to go with
Yeah.
the Dick Tracy experience of the Beatty film.
Yeah, it's a 5. It's just
Fucking
interesting.
hell.
It's only 20 minutes out of your life.
Yeah.
That's all.
it's a long 20 minutes. Let's say that.
It is a long 20
Don't lie.
minutes.
It's
Oh,
a
I
long-
Unless
was
you're
riveted.
a huge Leonard Maltin acting fan, it's a long 20 minutes.
I was riveted.
It
Some
gave
bizarre
Leonard
things.
Maltin the reason to use a cane. He was
It might be worth Ben Mankiewicz's expressions when he was like furrowing his brows in confusion. That was actually
I mean, that's all mock confusion. I'm sure it
Yeah.
still felt uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
these two guys aren't actors.
right.
You could tell.
Well, and Leonard's face is obviously screwed up from having Parkinson's. Something was off about him.
So would this get a Leonard Maltin bomb?
Bomb!
It's a turkey.
Star and a half.
It's a bomb. It's a bomb.
Well,
Wait,
Eric,
do any of you
anything
have a
to-
copy of? Oh no, I don't have anything to plug. But do any of you have a copy of the Leonard Maltin book? I'm sure one of you probably do.
I've got
don't.
one old one from 92 or something floating around.
92. We should like buy them. You can get them for pretty cheap, I'm sure. And then we
Oh,
could
yeah.
read through them and then find 10 funny reviews, and then read them on the show.
And read him as Leonard Maltin. I
Each
gave
of
it a
us.
bomb.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
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 Like his most infamous. Isn't it romantic? No, it's not. Yeah, that's his review.
Well, he has a negative review of Taxi Driver that's pretty funny.
He reviews yeah, you're right. The farmer gives it a bomb, I think.
Does he?
I believe
Oh.
so. It's in the book.
Not shocking. Not shocking at all.
And Fight for Your
Well,
Life, he gave
what's-
a bomb as well, I think.
What's his funny Taxi Driver review?
He says something like, to some, this portrayal, this is a brilliant film. To us, it's a portrayal of a sick psychopath. And I haven't read the review in years, but I remember it being very, very negative for a movie that in every other film book at the time, pre-internet, all you had were these film books to read reviews, and every other film book like raved about it. And it had renewed attention because of the Reagan assassination.
Oh, yes.
But
yes.
yeah, and then because of the Hinckley thing and everything. But I remember Maltin's review, even in the 79 edition, or it's actually the 1980 edition that cuts off in 79, he gave it a bad review back then. So it was even before Reagan was president.
Mhm. Why don't we do an audio show reading Leonard Maltin reviews and Glenn Danzig reviews each one?
Yeah, there you go.
Well, I
A Danzig
still
review or
say John Grace or Glenn Danzig. Who said it?
Yeah, that's a good game. John, jot off some reviews about something so we can all figure out whether it's you or Danzig. The funniest
my
negative
Letterboxd reviews
review.
are a little too quirky, I think, to
Yeah.
qualify to be
No,
confused with Danzig.
Actually, here's a theory. Perhaps John writes these reviews for Danzig and sends them to him, and Glenn puts his name to
Hey,
it.
there you go. Yeah, Den's probably
I-
literate.
I think
Danzig
John.
is-
I think Garrow could handle this for us, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
all
he
I'm gonna
could.
say for right now.
I may have to give Garrow that job.
Yeah, Garrow can do it.
Give him the gig.
Garrow can make it real.
You'll know it's Garrow because the word liberal will be in there about 25 times in a 40 word review.
Yarrow or Sherry Curry?
Or-
Yeah.
Who is it?
So she was really that full on, was she?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
she
Well,
was
all
fine
right.
before. Amicable, wasn't making a big fuss, and then I started talking to her, and it got really.
You set her off.
All of a sudden, I set her off, and everybody that came, she was just asking, "It's like, who did you vote for? You didn't vote for Joe Biden, did you?" And they were like, "Oh."
So when was this? How long ago?
October.
Oh, so recently. A few months back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Eric called me the day it happened, I think, and he told me about it. It's
That's
just like,
fuck- that's
I said,
fucking
"Oh, I
funny.
figured that would happen."
That's funny.
Yeah, I knew just what to say too, because I was just like, "All right, I'm gonna make this interesting."
I
for
would have
myself." 'Cause that- it was-
guessed she was liberal big time, being from Hollywood and shit, from California, but
No, I don't know if she ever was, but from what she told me, that's not my impression of it. Like she's always been.
very cool. Yeah. Foxes. That was a good movie. I like that one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
Free
that.
on YouTube. I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, is it?
I haven't
Oh,
watched- Yep, I haven't
not
watched it yet. I
anymore.
should've-
Thanks, Eric.
No.
Yeah,
Good
sorry.
one.
I'll watch it tonight.
Yeah. This video has been removed. Hate speech.
All right, fellas, my
All right.
connection is really unstable. So
I
I'm
know
gonna
that's
go
why I was
ahead-
sticking around.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up because I got to run. It's getting late here.
Stick around for Nez. I've got his piece, and yeah,
All right.
it is
All right.
typical Anthony.
Thanks.
I meant to say
Uh-oh,
thanks for
it happened
coming
again.
on, Eric. Y'all was so fun to have on. Come back anytime. You hear? Yeah. All right.
Walnuts, they're bad
Adios.
for they're good for the liver, bad for the brain. I swear to God, I didn't plant this here. They've been here.
What is that?
They're walnuts. They're pecans, actually.
Oh, okay. I thought they were buds. What the fuck are you showing on camera for?
No, I
Because that would be
wouldn't- I don't-
pomegranates. That'd be your Dick Tracy.
I don't.
tie-in.
I don't partake on
don't-
in
good.
that. Pomegranates, yes, I
Very
do
good.
partake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pomegranates. Good. Good for the blood
Pomegranates.
flow to the old fella. It is as well.
Yeah.
All right. We'll be let Hanukkah
Although
have
you
his
can't,
misery.
although you can't say that anymore the way he looks.
All right.
Anyways, we'll
I'm-
talk later.
My connection's screwed, so I'm.
It's I signed off for you, so
Bye bye.
And now, it's time for Rue Britannia with your foreign correspondent, the Nez.
In a move that will surprise nobody other than those who don't find Tulsi Gabbard unbearably self-righteous and smug, Britain's favourite Muslim terrorist Shamima Begum was again informed on appeal by the High Court this week that she will never have her UK passport restored and that she will never be allowed to return to the UK. All very well and good, but bad news for Keir Starmer and the Labour Party, who for the last 5 years stated that the ninja was not only a victim of grooming, but that she actually should be allowed back into the UK. Just to illustrate, when the High Court this week delivered its verdict, MI5 issued a press release, it's whether they should do it, stating very clearly that she was a threat to national security. It's basically just one reason as to why Keir Starmer can't just quite seal the electoral deal with the British public. Weird stuff. And a senior detective in Northern Ireland was almost shot to death this week by the latest version of the IRA. This the latest in a series of odd, angry shots over the last year. Indeed, given how there are just so many versions of the IRA these days, it's actually really a surprise that the police service of Northern Ireland actually managed to identify the correct version responsible for firing the 7 shots at the officer, who is currently in hospital recovering. The provisional IRA, the continuity IRA, the real IRA, the new IRA, the slightly baffled IRA, the bored IRA, the vaguely irritable IRA, the rainbow IRA, the feminist IRA, etc. Actor and IRA terrorist Stephen Ray condemned the shooting, stating that it wasn't really actually any of the IRAs involved, but the fact that it was Brexit. War games, and as the Ukrainian war moves into its second year, there's still no sense that the Tory government's resolve over a war that doesn't really matter to anybody shows no sign of softening. The unelected Indian Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, having inherited the war from Shirley, vowed to effectively continue shipping Ukraine hardware. The problem here being that the Tories and Labour spent 26 years winding down and downsizing the British military to such a point that Britain actually has very few tanks to send and very few fighter jets to send at the same time. This, on top of decreasing manpower numbers and the Ministry of Defence recruitment crisis made worse by the department's woke CRGT recruitment campaign in general. You can catch their commercials on YouTube. Quote unquote, the army, helping you practice your faith. I guess you can basically tell just which particular faith exactly. Anyway, here's to year 3. Further notes in passing, Penguin Random House has, in true woke CRGT fashion, announced plans to re-edit and censor the children's novels of Roald Dahl. I'm intrigued as regarding just how publishers will effectively re-edit and censor the World War II novels of Sven Hessel. You know, Liquidate Paris, SS General, my personal favourite, Assignment Gestapo. TV presenter Dan Walker was injured cycling after basically being hit by a bus in London this week. The bus is making a speedy recovery. And Welsh Rugby Union players in the dispute with the governing body in Wales, the Welsh Rugby Union, have actually called off their planned strike over pay and bonuses. Wales' sheep population now breathes a sigh of relief. PAX.